Hi there, it's time for some more Might and Magic 7. Boy, I hope this is the last techno-babble segment of really this damn series. We begin by launching in Software 3D. Now, the Sage of Daggerfall, who hasn't actually beaten Daggerfall, wrote in the comments last video, noting the program DG Voodoo, which, as it turns out, I'm actually using DG Voodoo 2 to window Might and Magic 7. Not just window it, but put it at a comfortable enough resolution where I can play it and be happy, instead of the default 640 by 480. Well, the Sage of Daggerfall, who hasn't actually beaten Daggerfall, noted that if I use the Force VSync option, I could ameliorate some of my problems. And as it turns out, I actually can. The cannonball doesn't get stuck in the cannon, although there's no pretty spark effects. People in town don't walk in place entirely, but every now and then I'll catch them walking in place. Just from my little bit of testing. And I don't have as crooked of walking as I did. I was noticing this last video. So there's that too. All in all, this is an acceptable compromise, I feel. I mean, we'll still have our text issues and quirks with this, but it's a compromise, right? Not a full-blown solution to all of my troubles in life. Now, there is an alternative I tested before the Force VSync option was pointed out to me, which I will go ahead and switch to now by going into the settings and switching to hardware accelerated 3D. So, one of the mods for Might and Magic 7 is basically a setup for you to play this game in any resolution that you want, even widescreen. What it does is it ports the textures, if memory serves, from the high resolution in Software 3D to what you can see in Hardware Accelerated 3D. And if you install the rest of the modification, it will alter your entire user interface. You can't see the cutscenes or like the cool like little videos whenever you go into houses and stores, but you can have neat resolutions. And I only fiddled with part of that mod, which ported out textures, and you'll notice the world is much brighter than what we're accustomed to. On the bright side, my cannon has the spark effect, and the pretty adorableness that it should have. So there is that. I think if I played with this, I'd have to turn down the gamma a little bit from its default setting, which gives the world like a slightly dark cast. There's also a quirk where all of the peasants, well, actually everyone, Mr. Malwick looks the exact same way. Basically, you know, you end up with just one model for the various characters you can interact with, in regards to like the peasants and riffraff. But, on the bright side, as it's hardware accelerated, my videos don't break. The blacksmith no longer has to burst free. And text no longer lingers on the screen. So, this is another possible solution. I don't think I'll stick with this, but, you know, this would have been another acceptable compromise for me too. Although, it does result in some quirks whenever I've right-mouse buttoned over things when I was testing this out too. The dragon looks really weird. We're not going to roll with this, though. We'll roll with, what the Sage of Daggerfall, who hasn't actually beaten Daggerfall, suggested. But that was an idea, and it's something I fiddled with. Could I link that resolution tool in the video description? Maybe, if I remember. But I might not. So, back to the action. Let's turn the gamma back up to where I had it. Good. Actually, that almost looks too bright now, huh? Whatever. So, when last we left off, I gathered some piles of money, but I avoided combat entirely. I also completed an optional quest, found the missing contestants on Emerald Island. Well, I found their remains. They've been devoured by a dragon who was fighting rats at the time that we last encountered him. Great fun, right? And we stole the dragon's treasure, which didn't actually amount to much, so shh, don't tell, no spoilers. Now, one of the reasons why I didn't actually get into any fights is because that would have gotten me experience points, and now this is a nod to past Grimith. Past Grimith would have been upset that Flailfist here did not have the learning skill, whereas everyone else did, so that they could get bonus experience, so that Flailfist could get bonus experience. Every point of skill is a percent of awarded experience that is given as a bonus, plus a starting bonus of 9%. So Revocane, Vic, and J2 are all getting 10% bonus experience just by having learning at level 1. Flailfist is not getting anything of the sort. It is worth noting that learning only applies to monster kill experience, and not quest experience. Anywho, so picking up learning before I actually go fight is important to assuage the memories of past Grimith, and I'd also like to recruit some hirelings. Now, every time you load the game or transition to a new area, like if I went into the Dragon Cave and came back out, all these peasants, who could actually be something more than peasants, take for example Eleanor the Scholar here.
Salutations.
Next time, she might not actually be a scholar. She could be a gypsy, she could be a fool, she could be a chimney sweep. So that's a way for you to reset the population until you find the hirelings that you're looking for. One of the hirelings I'm looking for is, in fact, a scholar, who provides unlimited item identification and a 5% bonus on all experience gained. That bonus is effectively a +5 to your learning skill. It's worth noting, by the way, that two of the same hireling, their perks won't stack. Let's say that I found 2 scholars. They provide unlimited item identification anyway, just like the individuals, but I'd only get +5 to learning. But if I had a scholar and, say, a teacher who gave me a +10 to learning, those bonuses would combine for a +15. This applies, say, if you've got like a merchant and a duper for your 2 followers, they'll give you +14 to your merchant skill. Traders, gypsies will also apply bonuses to your merchant skill. Whole slew of different followers. But I'm looking for a scholar. The other individual I'm looking for is a merchant. Psychic, smith, healer. Yeah, definitely a psychic. And there's a few more scattered around. Now, if you don't end up liking what you see, and like, no, I want to make sure that I get a person here. Albert, for example, is a teacher, which I could combine and swim in experience, and that is what past Grimith would do, absolutely, and would adamantly obsess over squeezing as many experience points as he could out of a situation. Another teacher, the Bard, of course, Gypsy, and, wow, another fucking teacher, a Factor.
Greetings and salutations.
Factor Stacy here provides 10% bonus on all gold you find, and takes 5% of all gold you find, and there's an upgraded version, a Banker, which gives you a 20% bonus on all gold found, but takes 10% of all gold you find. That doesn't directly translate to you getting 10% more gold. Let's take, for example, the Banker. You have a Banker, like as a follower. You find a clump of 100 gold, which would normally be 100 gold, but the Banker increases it to 120 gold. Now, the Banker ends up taking 10% of that. 12 gold, yeah? Which leaves you with 108 gold, not 110 gold. So your net gain was 8% in that situation, not 10%. Lessons young Grimith didn't quite consider, even though he had a decent background in math. Anywho, I'm going to spare you the trouble of seeing me constantly load to force a merchant to pop up. Grimith has a save prepared for this, or he has a scholar and a merchant. And the scholar, Lucky, keeps staring rudely at Lauren the merchant. Jane. Now, you could grab a duper. I believe I mentioned this last video, but the duper does lower your reputation category, and reputation influences prices in this game. worth keeping in mind. Just depends on where you are. The Greyface mod prints out your exact number of where you are reputation-wise, so you can see how far you are from the scale. You can donate a bit to, like, the local temple to influence your points. Quests can influence points. Shit like that. I'm not gonna too much about it. Okay, so what I want to make sure I get here is the learning skill. And to do that, we need to get membership in either the Fire Guild or the Air Guild. I'm going to grab membership in the Fire Guild. Now, having a merchant, as well as having points in the merchant skill, or just even having the merchant skill, will reduce the cost of you getting...
Members only.
Silly Grimith. Other services from places too, such as learning skills.
Welcome to the Fire Guild.
This would not have cost 820 gold for Flailfist to learn. This would have been higher. Now, he's got learning. Hooray! And we're left with 271 gold. Which we can promptly rectify by coming here and selling this topaz. Has a base value of 500, and we're almost getting half of that value. Almost. A single tear rolls down our cheeks.
Come again.
Now, this gold will be useful for us in learning and teaching someone, most likely Flailfist, the bow skill.
Need a new weapon?
Thanks.
Come again.
We're left with 93 gold, which means it's time for us to drink from this well. Flailfist has actually 50 luck, but base of 15, which is enough to get 1,000 gold pieces from the lucky well. You need to have sub 200 gold pieces and a luck of 15 or higher, which means we have even more money to play with.
That's rubbish.
By the way,
This is worthless.
let's identify stuff. That's really all we had to identify. Great. We're going to be teaching the bow skill to Vic as well. Do I feel like giving armor to anyone? I don't think so.
Need a new weapon?
Actually, before I do this... What time of day is it? 2:41? Nah, we're fine. I am going to head back to the Fire Guild. Now, I've actually already generated the shop inventory there.
Welcome to the Fire Guild.
Do you have Fire Aura? 656. Yeah, we'll take that. Keep in mind, though, Grimith, that if you buy that, you're going to have to give it to Revocane. Because our druid friend does not have fire magic. And I don't plan on leveling up Revocane's magic skills anytime soon. Interesting situation. There's no water or earth guilds on Emerald Island. Fire, air, body, and spirit. Fire aura is nice. We can pick that up, though, later, I guess. Yeah, no biggie. Something else that I would be interested in, though. And bear with me here. We'll get to those dragonflies in a moment. They're not going anywhere. Is grabbing Body Guild membership. Nope. Grimith will actually save the game here.
The guild of the body welcomes you.
Although I have walked in here before, huh? Yeah, so I don't actually think this is going to reset it, will it?
The guild of the body welcomes you.
No, it did, because I didn't end up looking at the merchandise, I suppose. We can grab the harm spell, which I will do. Vic doesn't have an offensive spell right now. If we had started with Mind Magic, we could have started with Mind Thrust. But we didn't, so we're kind of left with, if we want to have an offensive spell on Emerald Island, left with Harm. Now, I'm getting this because it'll speed up the eventual dragon fight. We're fighting the dragon soon, by the way. Not soon. Before we leave. So I will actually pick that up. I think that's more important than me grabbing the bow skill right now.
That is going to be useful.
Now, I could spend some gold teaching these characters the merchant skill, but I would rather not do that at this time. Man, explaining the whole technical babble really ate into my time.
Need a new weapon?
Staff, crude spear, battle axe, dagger. We can still end up teaching Vic bow. But it's not crucial to do right now.
Thanks.
Do I sell this armor? Sure, let's sell the armor. How many spell points do you have? 40? How much does Arm take to cast? 4.
It's ready.
Set that as a quick spell. Poison Spray
Yes.
isn't that exciting of an attack spell, but we're going to go ahead and use that anyway, because Princess J2 does not have any bow skill. We could send Firebolt here for Revocaine, but we won't. He will have better luck with the actual bow.
See anything you want?
69. Nice.
Thanks a lot.
Wait, did I teach you to bow? I did. Good. I was like, wait a second. We've got a Wand of Fire, and of course the Wand of Fireballs here. We're going to keep those in reserve for the time being. Cartographer. I'm done with vending, pretty much for the time being. So it would, like, the merchant only costs me 200 gold pieces to hire. So I could actually stand to get rid of the merchant and pick up, say, a teacher. I was about to say, but that might be too tedious to watch, and I'll dismiss it. Well, what do you know?
Good day.
Lottie! That ring? We can always sell it later. No big deal. Fire me was joking, you'll lose a lot of money without me around. Nah.
Hello.
Hooray! Plus 15 now. Concessions to past Grimith, everyone. And now Lucky can stare at Lottie, who can stare back at Lucky. I guess I'm committed to not running around with bow skill, because I don't have enough money to pick that up now, and I just got rid of the merchant, so... We're going to be rolling with Harm. Fire Res still lasts for 2 hours and 26 minutes, that's good. We can always renew that later. Finally, let's get into some action here. Let's go fight some dragonflies, everyone. Let's introduce you to turn-based combat. Now, I've explained this a bit whenever I did some test streaming and in the comments for someone. But there's a real-time combat and a turn-based combat system in this game. Real-time, I mean, you've seen us move around in real time. You can bob and weave in and out of combat, dodge range projectiles, such as the dragons. However, enemies in real-time combat, if they engage you in melee, will attack you as fast as their attack animation allows. So some enemies can be more dangerous than others. In turn-based, they'll actually follow their programmed, recovery times for attacking. Now, there's an attack phase, and then there's a slight movement phase as well. Now, there's a default attack command and a default shoot command, which I've remapped. Let's see if Grimith can remember the keys. Grimith did not remember the keys correctly, and Princess J2 just flailed in the air with her spiked club. Now, the default attack command will switch to using bow, but the default attack command will not shoot a spell. It's the default shoot command that will handle bow use and spell use. Now, you can target enemies yourself, or you can just have like the auto sort of like attack
Bring on a bigger
protocol.
challenge.
Isolate fools. Now you have a slight movement phase, which you can use to do whatever you want. We're actually going to move towards the dragonflies, because I'm not that worried about fighting them in melee. I believe my companions are attacking the tree by default. Sometimes the scenery can interfere. I would like to congratulate them for disappointing me. Not the first time any of these people have disappointed me, though. Now,
Bring on a bigger challenge.
most enemies in this game, when they get to low health, will flee from you. And that includes them actually fleeing off the damn map, where it's really hard, if not impossible, for you to reach them and loot their bodies. There is a way to combat that. If you leave the area and come back to it,
Ow!
all monster positions
But I need it
reset
fixed.
to where they're supposed to be.
Oh, please.
Ow!
So that's one way to get people pop back to where they
Piece of
should.
cake.
Too easy.
Alternatively, I mean, you could, like, stand at the edge of, like, the coast and gun the dragonflies down, but if their bodies fall into the sea, you can't loot them. Anyway, now that I had that moment explaining, let's actually get into
But I
some
need
melee
it
fighting.
fixed.
Recovery time, I believe I noted this as well already, but just to make sure, is influenced by whether you're running or walking. I have always run set to on, but in real-time mode, recovery takes longer when you're running as opposed to walking. Way to combat that would be to stand still. And these dragonflies, really, with Day of the Gods, don't pose a challenge for us. Case in point, we eviscerated them. And Princess J2 was barely touched. With that in mind, let's make things a bit more interesting.
Ah, what a
And let them come for us.
Ah, what a scratch.
Ow!
It
Bring on
doesn't
a
even
bigger
hurt.
challenge.
Please.
Now, we do actually have a runner out there. If I could... No? Does the interface want to, like, get him? Yep, a fire dragonfly pretty much just said, fuck this, I'm out. Higher than that, though. Everything's been butchered. Hooray. Sweet, sweet dragonfly gold. Now, what's our reward for our troubles? It's a shed full of crates, full of money. We shall pick up these items and enjoy them. That's odd. That's immersion breaking. That has to be because of Force VSync, because I've never seen this happen before. It's not one damn thing, it's another. Does that happen in my inventory when I pick stuff up? It does. That's gonna be more annoying to live with. Here's some reagents and potion bottles. I'm gonna have to reflect on this. So, spiked mace, better than normal mace. We have ourselves a horned helmet, which will allow a flail fist to put on. Other than that, we just got some various little knickknacks, no big deal. We did get a seashell, though, so we don't have to murder Sally. Hooray! Time, 4:41 p.m., close to 5. At 6 p.m., most stuff in town is going to close. The temple won't, but stores will. There are a few places in the game that operate on a different schedule where they open at 6 p.m. and close at 6 a.m. Anyway, I didn't let you read that description, because we're not actually going to do anything there for the moment.
Ow!
It doesn't even hurt.
Falling damage everywhere. Let's see whether that Dragonfly is back where he belongs. She belongs. Yep, sure is. Thank you for cooperating and demonstrating that mechanic to my viewers. Much obliged. Although that Dragonfly should have a red tint to it, because it's a fire Dragonfly. We definitely have different... You know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter. We're done. Not spell points. Good. Grab some health. You'll notice we have lots of gold to swim around in now again. Hooray. In fact, we're eligible to train to level 2. Hooray. Where do I feel like putting people's skill points? We are actually going to train it before going into the temple. We don't need to, but it provides bonus, well, provides skill points, provides hit points, and it provides spell points. So why the hell not?
Need some training?
The price is going to be a little up because I don't have the damn merchant. I'm going to get over it. Training gets far more expensive later on.
That's the ticket. That's the ticket.
We got some skill points for our troubles. You start working on punching people. Basic level adds to attack bonus, so it's easier for Flail Fist to hit. And along the way, we're going to advance dodging with you. Revocane, who doesn't actually have a weapon skill yet, so is also going unarmed for the time being. Eventually, Revocane is going to have a spear and a dagger, and dual-wield those. I'm going to advance Revocane's bow skill for now. But I'm going to want to grab Disarm Trap and Perception as well to advance those. Doesn't have those yet, though. Vic here is just going to put her points into Body Magic for now. Not Mace. And Princess J2, to make her, her spell better, is going to put some points into Water Magic. And I'll think about the rest. We gotta go grab our shrines again, though, so... We'll go do that. We'll go murder more dragonflies, because there's more dragonflies for us to murder. Let's get up the slope. You see that hole there? That hole is my immersion! People have lowered hit points and spell points, doesn't matter. I love how I drank from the well before I went to train. By the way, 9:30. And yes, there are more dragonflies out there for us to murder because Emerald Isle really does have a problem with dragonflies, and they keep coming back.
That's too easy.
It doesn't even hurt. Ow!
Ow! Ow!
That's the danger of dragonflies. demonstration purposes. Well, Dragonfly is whenever we don't have any armor, and we get mobbed by them, and we weren't at full health. But I did tag Day of the Gods.
Ow!
She's actually unconscious now.
That was too easy. Ow!
Help! Ow!
Stop that.
Ow!
Stupid fire dragonfly. J2, first person in the party to be knocked unconscious. Not a surprise. J2 does have the least health.
That was too easy.
It was too easy, Lethal. It was. Any other takers?
That was too easy.
There you go. Now, when your party members fall unconscious, they do not get experience for kills. Of course, if they fall dead or they're eradicated, they also don't get that experience. I'm pretty sure they don't gain experience either. They're stoned or paralyzed, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Now, we could hop into here,
Do you need
hit heal
healing?
for 10
Go
gold,
in
but we
peace.
have to be misers and squeeze every single point that we can. It's what J2 would do. It's good enough. Good enough. Good enough. We don't need that much more experience either. We're halfway to level 3. Anyway, I think that takes care of the action. We killed a bunch of dragonflies, saw J2 fall unconscious, leveled up to level 2. Restored our hit points. We got plenty of punch and power. Next time, we're going to go into the Temple of the Moon and say hi. Apparently, the strongest group on the island's in the Temple of the Moon, dealing with other groups for the scavenger hunt. Do note that we actually haven't turned in anything for the scavenger hunt yet. We could. Nah. We don't want to alert other groups to how close we are to completing this damn thing. No spoilers. From Lucky and Lonnie here. Staring at each other. From Flailfist, Revocane, Vic, and Princess J2. See you next time.